Okay, so I'm pretty much back with another follow-up on my previous video, which was discussing or just testing around, just playing around with C2 Xilonen in regards to Electro, because you get minus cooldown. So um, what I've been testing at, there's actually more depth to it than I would really thought. You can like make a probably pretty weird teams with it. So I'm just gonna go back and test teams I didn't, or test like maybe similar teams that I previously did, but with like different elemental reactions, all this stuff. So what I have right here may look pretty weird. So I did get a comment discussing about Lisa, but my Lisa isn't exactly built for damage. So she'll be here for her direct defense shred, which is, I believe, this. So I get a defense shred. Official. So official is here for more Electro, so that I can actually proc the... because I tried Nahida here, but obviously you gotta have 2 Electros or 2 elements so that she can actually do her thing. So I have these 2 here in Alhaitham for the damage for the quicken or spread. And this is blasphemy in my eyes, but you have to do this, you know. I could have put it on her, but I just put it on her for now. So that's what I'm trying out right now, and I'll try other teams in this video too. So this is what I'm going to start off with, a weird Alhaitham team, and see how it functions. So let's see what we got. So I'm going to start off with this. Okay. So what's interesting is obviously I got the cooldown back. I wasn't exactly looking at the damage numbers, so I mean, if I were to compare it to Hyper Bloom, I think it's still weaker, but this is just a interesting other option. And if you're still watching at this part, Xilonen C2 just reduces elemental burst cooldown by 6 seconds. So say that you can use like Lisa's burst, you use Xilonen's skill, and then you do a few things, and you go back to Xilonen's skill again, and then you basically remove 12 seconds from her burst cooldown, which means you basically made it over 100% uptime, which is actually it's pretty cool. So that's pretty much the idea of what this video will be. I will be just playing around with other things and see how they work together. So obviously, let's figure out what other teams we could do that I missed out on. So if I didn't mention, I can't remember if I did. In my previous video, I tested around with a bunch of, you know, Electro synergies with Xilonen, but I never did any aggravate or quicken stuff. So that's what today is going to be, toying around with that a bit. So I did do this a bit off camera, and I believe I potentially found a new Keqing favorite team of mine. So obviously I'm going to show you that right now. So the gist of it is just typical Keqing. I did it with Nahida, but honestly I want to stay a little safer, so let's use Baizhu instead. So as we're moving, I will explain how it works. When I'm doing my quick rotations, I don't want to waste time using Xilonen's burst, as what I've been playing around with. So yeah, let's see if I can, I hope it's not slightly complex, but let's just go into it. Enough yapping. It's better to show it than to, you know, let's talk about it. As you can see, I did mess up the rotations a little bit, but it's pretty much, if you mess up, everything's already up, so you're not really losing much when you're, you know, toying around with just swapping over, swapping back, as long as you're constantly using Xilonen's skill, because for some reason they made it 5 seconds of cooldown, so you could just do it a million times in a long fight. So yeah, you can on cooldown kind of just reduce your burst by 6, and well, Keqing already has a super low cooldown with 12, so you just split it in half. and I think the cooldown starts mid-animation. That's just a random thought. Maybe it doesn't, but it probably does because it's so quick. So yeah, that's most likely my new favorite Keqing team now. Like, it's pretty much this with like Kazu and Sif, Xilonen, and maybe Nahida instead, or Kirara. So those are the alternatives, but Xilonen just makes you, with C2, makes you able to just burst on cooldown, and that's super fun. And what I also will mention, since I'm still here, is that the exact same thing works with Clorinde, but I did like one test off camera, so I was able to do the same rotation, burst with Clorinde, skill, go back to Xilonen, go through my characters, come back to Clorinde, burst with Clorinde, but her skill was still on cooldown, meaning this might be a Thundering Fury angle. So I'm going to just equip everything that Keqing has and see if the stats are usable. I don't remember what both of their Ascension stats are, but hopefully they aren't too messy. 67, 217, that's fine. Okay. Yeah, so I'm going to funnel some energy real quick, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so let's see if my yapping actually makes sense to where I can actually use her skill right afterwards. So yeah, let's go in and see how things go. As for this guy, this is my new test dummy for this showcase, because if you're doing multiple bursts on cooldown, I don't want the boss to be dead. Okay, honestly, yeah, I said that again. That might be one of my favorite Clorinde teams, actually. I think I will say that if you want to use this team, I recommend Thundering Fury, because you will have like 2 to 3 seconds of downtime of your skill if you do the rotation exactly the way I did it. But Thundering Fury is a very good set on her, because lots of players complain that Clorinde's skills has way too much downtime, which honestly I can agree with, but I farmed this set anyway, so I had to put it on someone. So yeah, so this set, honestly, so you just have to have a Thundering Fury set aside, or Ray if you already have it on Clorinde, but that feels very smooth. Maybe you can use Nahida instead though. You'll do a little bit more damage, but what I will say that Baizhu heals you and Clorinde gives herself Bond of Life, so she won't get healed. So I would recommend Nahida, but you know what? This is a testing video. Why not just test it, right? So give me 1 second, and I'll be back for another test. Okay. Okay, we're back. Now I will actually do this with Nahida and see if there's any big differences at all. Okay, actually, this might contradict what I said earlier. I did get staggered, and Baizhu may have a very, very weak shield, but he does give you stagger resistance every once in a while. So you can survive 1 hit without getting knocked down, and Clorinde does not want to be knocked down. So, honestly, despite Baizhu not being able to heal you, Baizhu might actually be the option I would prefer here. But that's obviously for up to testing around there. But from what I did from here, you can view it however you may. If you want to test this around, make sure you have Thundering Fury, and you can use Nahida or Baizhu on the 5-star options. You could probably even use like Kirara or other 4-star options like Yae Miko and Dendro Traveler. So the Dendro unit, I think, will work just fine on any option. I honestly just might think Baizhu and maybe even Kirara is the best option, just so your Clorinde does not get hurt too much, or just hit in general, because being staggered on Clorinde is not a good feeling. So this Yeah, I approve. Hopefully you do too. So let's figure out what next team to do. So in my previous video, I did honestly just get a comment saying like I have Yae Miko like kind of pretty much in my face, and I didn't use her because she does have a very expensive burst and a long, cooldown. And I was a bit concerned about, is it even in my head? I didn't really mention, I think. Is it even worth testing it around? But why would I, not test out a character who literally fits in the criteria of what I am testing? A 90 burst cost with a 22-second cooldown. My main concern is, you have to use your skill 3 times, burst, and then skill 3 times again. So that was my worry. But we're not here to worry. We're here to have fun and test everything, okay? So that's what we're going to do. Test everybody. So let's see if I have consistency in... Okay, let me let it respawn. Let's see if I have, like, consistency in my burst or not, so... Because, before I even talk, let's just figure out if it works, okay? Oh, weird ass... No, so, why does it sound like that? Sorry, Discord. Let me mute that. Okay. I don't know why it sounds so weird. So let me just say that if this doesn't work, then I'll just have to add a little bit more energy recharge to her because she has 104. That's very low. So obviously that is subject to be upgraded and stuff, so there's no concerns there. I might even use Fizzle first, just so I make sure I have the Electro to get the damage buff. Huh. Well, I haven't used Yae Miko as an on-field DPS in a while, so I'm like very, very sloppy. And maybe Baizhu is a better option here because, yeah. You know what? Let's cut the video and go back. Let's use Baizhu instead because and it's quite embarrassing. Okay, we are back with energy with Baizhu this time, and let's just hope that I don't just completely mess up. I'm sorry if anyone uses Yae Miko a lot on field. I just pretty much use her skill and swap off as like a Tighnari support. So, let's just do this. As for the order of what to do things, it's which unsure. But does it work? In a way, yeah. I can't say otherwise. It's dead. So the rotation was sloppy. If you know how to use this, if you know how to use Yae as an on-field character, you would do this better than me. So from what you could see from how I played it, I hope you get an idea of how it works. Her burst has a very long cooldown, so it will take some time to, suck it down with the minus 6 seconds each constellation run, So, anyways, is that usable? Yes, I'll approve it. I approve of it. It takes a little bit of time to build the energy, right? Or not even, well, the energy and the cooldown, but energy can be circumvented with, energy recharge. Burst cooldown, we'll just have to be using Xilonen's skill a bunch. So that's my thoughts about it. So yeah. So what I will also mention, I did get a comment on my previous video that well, I think a lot of people knows that C6 Dory actually is not a bad character. Like Dory is unfortunately not that good, but C6 Dory actually has some use. And I believe she gets her infusion through her burst? Is that her burst? Oh, wait, is it her skill? Okay, it's something, but you get, like a burst, And if you look at her just burst stuff, it's a 12-second duration with a 20-second cooldown. So if you use, obviously, if you use her Xilonen skill, you could pretty much almost give this 100% uptime. But if you actually can squeeze it in, you can make it 100% uptime, depending on how fast you are, perhaps. But Dory actually can be a good option. Sethos. Might as well discuss the characters I do not have built, because might as well, right? So Sethos is a, well, obviously an Electro DPS who can also utilize that, I believe. People use charge attacks on him, but is his burst just normal tech infusion? And well, I think people like using that too, which could be fun. I had never built Sethos because I think I wanted to get a C6 first. That's pretty much how me with 4 stars sometimes, unless they're really interesting. But otherwise, Sethos can do it. Wait, duration and cooldown, so you could pretty much 100% uptime this thing. 60 cost, yeah, you can run. you can do that really quickly. As for anyone else, I did some Sarah stuff, so she's obviously still energy hungry, has a long cooldown, but Sarah does work. Long cooldown, same as Yae Miko, or I think Yae Miko's 22 seconds, so that works too. Yeah, I did Beidou in the last video. If you haven't watched the last video, obviously I recommend it. Might as well watch the first test. I did enjoy Beidou a lot. Like, Beidou was very fun. And for Razor, well, I mean, it does work, right? You'll get 100% uptime. If you do, my question is, how do people play Razor nowadays? Because there is a, like, Thundering Furry team where he has, like, C6 Bennett, and he has his burst up to, you know, Burgeon. But if you do physical, you can just have the uptime on the physical. But Xilonen buffs the electro damage, and I think he's mostly just physical damage, right? Still, no matter what. Unless you infuse him with an element, but yeah. That's my mentions of the rest of the characters, I believe. I did a Ryan test in my previous video. Kuki's just the support, but I guess it can help if you want her burst to, you know, do something, I guess. More electro application, but it's never a big deal. Let's see, what else? Electro is... Yeah, I think I believe I mentioned Sino last video. I bet it would work just fine on him, because the more damage... well, excluding the C2, C0 Xilonen is amazing with him, because her burst is... her, you know, damage shredding and buff is a very long duration, and Sino has a very long duration on his ultimate. So, that helps out a lot, and if your Sino has energy issues, then he probably doesn't anymore. So, that's, yeah. Pretty much C2 Xilonen works with pretty much every Electro unit in the game. So, I think that this is going to be a shorter video than my previous one, but I just wanted to mention the teams that I missed. I just wanted to... I don't want to have you guys just, yeah, miss anything, so, yeah. I don't want to, like, skim over, like in my previous video, Yae Miko, saying, like, I didn't mention using her, but I should have used her. But, yeah, it's okay to split my video in 2 parts. Maybe you guys don't want to watch a 30-minute video anyway, so. This video might be no longer than 15 minutes, hopefully, so. Anyways, I believe that's it, right? Yeah. I did a few tests that I may have missed out. There might be more. That might be more that I missed out on that have some interesting synergies, especially with maybe Electro Charged or like Quicken, even more of that, but maybe even Overload, if I want to do like Overload testing, but I'm not sure where to start, because if I were to use, like, say, like Arlecchino, she's like the Overload Queen-ish? No, not really, but let me just, before I say anything without not enough knowledge on the topic, typically if I were to use Overload, it would be Chevreuse teams, and Chevreuse does not work with Xilonen, so yeah. Anyways, enough yapping. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like, subscribe, drop a comment if you want, maybe even say if I missed any teams here, and if you watched the previous video, you'll know all the teams I tested. There might be even more that I missed. So, if I did miss any teams, let me know in the comments. So anyways, yeah, like and subscribe, comment, and join my Discord if you like. It's in the description. So yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and peace out.